Hey guys, 2022 has been an absolutely crazy year, probably one of the best years I've had so far. It's been a year of growth, change, and reflection for me. I swear the year's just gone by so quickly, and before it's over, I really want to make a video about 10 lessons I've learned from 2022. Let's get started. Get involved, and I cannot emphasize this point enough. I feel like this year I've done quite a few things outside of my comfort zone that I wouldn't really have expected myself to do. I mean, I started a YouTube channel, but all in all, like, join clubs, join extracurricular activities, do that thing that you've always wanted to do but kept putting it off for some reason. These things make you you, and you're gonna meet some pretty amazing people on the way. Be interested, not interesting. Now, this all comes down to being a good listener. Coming into med school with like a new cohort, there's always this urge to seem like the most interesting person out there. But in all honesty, people are going to find you more interesting if you talk less about yourself and focus more on the other person. Ask them questions, listen, and show genuine interest in the other person. There's actually this TED Talk that randomly appeared on my feed one day, and it really delves into how to be a good listener and how to hold a proper conversation, which I would highly recommend everyone to check out. Learn to say no, and don't feel guilty about it. Self-care isn't selfish. I really think that it's super important to set boundaries, whether it be in your personal life, in your work life, in any relationship, etc. Don't rely on motivation. Now, a lot of people use motivation as the tool that pushes them to achieve a goal, but it's quite transient and it's also unreliable. Rather, you should have discipline and systems in place to get things done. These systems will create a sense of routine in your life. Now, there's this quote written by Jay Shetty in his book Think Like a Monk, and it really resonated with me. The quote says that rules and routines ease our cognitive burden so that we have bandwidth for creativity. Basically what it's saying is that systems and routines in our life give us the freedom to explore other things, and it also frees up the cognitive load so that we can deal with other things better. Set goals. Now, I am a huge goal setter, and if this goal is something that I am super passionate about, then that just gives me the drive to work towards it. I make sure I write these goals down somewhere, whether it be, financial or personal or fitness goals. Write it down somewhere so that it's more concrete, but also make sure that the goals that you set are SMART goals. The reason why I say you should set goals is because it gives a bit more clarity and purpose to your life, and it helps you to prioritize the things you have to do to work towards achieving it. Start investing. Learn more about financial literacy in your own time, because trust me, no educational institute is going to teach you this properly unless you maybe do commerce at university. My personal faves are Girls That Invest and also Money Hub. They're both run by New Zealanders. But yeah, we live in this era where inflation is going crazy, there's talks about a recession, and living costs are just rising. It's super important to look at different streams of passive income if you want to live towards financial independence. And also, investing is super easy these days because you can buy fractional shares. Plus, there's so much potential to find different streams of income because now we've moved into a more digital world post-COVID. Celebrate the small wins. Now, progress takes time, so rather than thinking about how far away you are from the end goal, change your perspective and think about how far you've come from where you started. And treat yourself for those wins. I was never really the person who treated myself whenever I got like a good grade or performed well for something. I kind of just took that for granted and then would move on preparing for the next exam or the next performance. But in the midst of that, I kind of got into the habit of, never being fully satisfied or happy with what I've achieved. This was a huge change in perspective for someone who was always expected to do well. Mental health is important. There were those days where toxic productivity and hustle culture, they were the trend, but those days are over. They're in the past, okay? Right now, the trend is self-care and prioritizing your well-being. Being busy is a weak flex. I remember when people used to rock up in the morning and be like, oh, how many hours of sleep did you get? And then they would start this competition of who slept the least amount of hours. But in all honesty, it's not something to be proud of. The best way to take care of your mental health is to block out times every single day for when you will exercise or when you will do something that you enjoy doing. And make sure you put those times in your calendar or your diary. Get started. Now, the hardest part is to always start, because we always strive for perfection, but we don't realize that perfection is something that is built through small incremental changes. And I feel like this was the biggest lesson I learned when I started my YouTube channel. I always just pushed it off, procrastinated it, because I was like, oh, I don't have I don't have the equipment to film something, even though I always had a phone. I don't have the editing skills. But you just learn that in the process of making the video, right? You don't have to have everything to get started. And I'm by no means perfect at editing videos, but every single video I make, I'll try and do something new. I'll try and learn a new technique. And that's how we can get better and better and closer to perfection. Find your study technique. It's super important to take the time to trial different methods of studying and note-taking, because it makes the entire process so much more efficient. I think for me, it legit took 1 year of university to realize that I study 100 times better when I make mind maps rather than when I write linear notes. And you might use different study techniques for different topics. For example, for anatomy, I use flashcards because it emphasizes active recall and spaced repetition, whereas for physiology, I use mind maps because I need to see the links between different concepts. Yeah, that's the end of the video. Those were the 10 lessons I learned from 2022, and I really do want to take them on as I move into the new year. I guess I'll see everyone in 2023. Bye!